Hello everyone, my name is Denise, and on today's book I have Jucelyn on with me to talk about this book, Standing Tall and Overcoming All. And yes, she is the author of this book. So okay, without further ado, I'll pass the mic over to her to give an introduction of herself.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Jucelyn and the author of Standing Tall, Overcoming All. This book is actually written as it's kind of like a throwback, to my younger self and my journey of how I walked through relationships, into marriage as a mom of 3, and unfortunately to have to walk out of it, that whole struggle and that whole journey.
So it is a good book, and I read it, and I find that it's a must read for young girls just entering the dating scene, because it gives them some important knowledge that actually sometimes we don't really learn in school. So tell me more about this book that you've written, and like who's it directed to? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So like Denise just said earlier, right? It's like a must read for women of all ages, all stages of relationship. And why do I say that? Because I have actually certain chapters that are dedicated for women of certain ages. So if you're currently in a relationship but not into marriage yet, there is a chapter on what do you look for in Mr. Right, or what is a healthy versus an unhealthy relationship. What are some of these hallmarks? If you're into marriage, there are also some nuggets that on reflection I've shared, like what is important to a marriage, in the marriage. How do you enhance the trust level in a marriage? What happens when trust is broken in a marriage? Is that just a roadblock, or is it just a speed hump? It really depends on how both parties approach it. And there's even a chapter on postnatal depression, because I did go through a certain period of that when I was handling the children on my own, very much on my own. And also how I eventually walked out of a emotionally unhealthy relationship.
So, I can't help but feel that this whole book it comes from a distillation of all the wisdom that you had after enduring years of suffering. So tell me more about your life and this relationship with the person who has caused so much pain.
Okay. I think, if you read this book, even the first chapter starts with a little girl, a 6-year-old girl, who is always just dreaming about walking down the aisles. And that was me. From a very young age, all I wanted was to get married. I felt that success to me is getting married, having a beautiful home with maybe 2 children, and my fantasy was kind of get married by 25 and have 2 children by 28 and just lead a peaceful, happily ever after kind of life with my loved ones.
And that was your fantasy and dream. So I remember how you mentioned that because you liked this dream and this fantasy so much, it sort of caused you to turn a blind eye to some red flags. Can you tell us more about that?
Right, red flags. They are there for a reason, and why it's called red is because red always signifies danger, right? Just like a car alarm goes ding 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 when you're going too near a curb to prevent a collision. So there is a chapter in there that is red flags, take stock, slow down. And I think there are red flags which we should not ignore. Before you go on to the next stage of the relationship, if there are certain red flags that you see, yeah, that's right, wow, Denise even highlighted some of the things that actually spoke to her. Some of the red flags could be, for example, trust is almost non-existent in that relationship, or there is a lot of maybe lies, a lot of threat, or you're not able to be yourself in that relationship. You feel that if you allow your true self to come out, you will be kind of marked, or that relationship will be non-existent after that. So these are some of the red flags that on retrospect I wish I had taken heed of, or at least addressed them to see if they can be resolved, and then have the courage to actually step out at that stage and not go on further.
Jucelyn, why is it so important to be able to be yourself and to have the permission to be yourself in a relationship?
Right. I think, at the heart of it, we all want to be heard. We all want to be seen, and every human wants to be validated. Let me ask you, if you cannot be yourself, if you are always projecting an image of yourself that you believe the other person would love only because this is what he sees and wants, how long would you last? You will always be suppressing yourself. So for me, I felt very suppressed because I wasn't even allowed to feel jealous. I wasn't even allowed to feel anger when certain things happen, or when promises were broken, or when certain unjustified things happen in the relationship. I'm still supposed to be happy, else I would get remarks like, what's with the black face? And therefore, I wasn't even able to discuss things that are causing conflict or causing me hurt in that relationship. And I think the years of suppressing that was totally unhealthy. It's like a volcano. It has to erupt somehow. And when, years of suppression happens, the outburst can cause a lot more damage than if the built up has been allowed to dissipate slowly over the years in healthy ways.
Are you saying that fighting is actually a good thing and that all couples should periodically fight and work things out?
This is a very interesting one, right? Because I think most people will go, quarreling is not good, fighting is not good. But I'm going to share with you that in my, seriously, about 25 years of being together, I have never quarreled with him. Yeah, I'm serious. Usually I'll just be like, I bring it up. Even then, there's so much fear, so much apprehension, because I feel that I can't win the argument. I feel that, no matter what I say, I'm not fast enough. I would be given an answer where I'll be juggling the ball after that, and I'll be feeling worse for that. And no arguments, nothing. Even when very big events happen in our relationship, which I think would have shaken the whole Jakarta or other relationships, I literally just smile, pretend that nothing happened. Okay, maybe not smile. I'll cry, in my own corner. I'll deal with it myself. But on retrospect, I'll tell you it's totally unhealthy and unnatural. So if you don't even quarrel in your relationship, it really might not be a good thing, because quarreling and fighting actually means that you're addressing an issue. Yes, we might have different points of view. That's why we are arguing over something. But at least it shows that both of you are actually connected and bothered enough to even work it out. Because not quarreling can also be a form of stonewalling and cutting off of emotions. And I think it came to a certain point in my relationship where I realized that it's no use. My points will never be heard, and therefore I'm not going to even talk about it.
So, okay, I love that. I like to echo Jucelyn's idea that fighting is actually good, and that good couples actually fight, and they have to fight from equal positions, 50-50 power, not like a 99 and 1% power and you got no say. I think eventually it causes you to lose yourself. Did that happen to you, Jucelyn?
Yes, definitely that happened. You see, I think, Denise, like you rightly said, quarreling is okay provided it comes from a healthy perspective where respect is there. I think now that I think back, right, if there are certain ingredients in your relationship that is present from day one, it will put you in good standing. Number one, that you're with someone who truly loves you enough to respect you for who you are. Because when there is respect in a relationship, it is going to permeate every level of your relationship, even when it comes to the not so nice bit when we don't agree. But because I respect you as a person, how I so-called fight with you is also going to be fair. Because at the end of the day, and we link it back to the other ingredient, which is love. If I truly love somebody, then even when I'm disagreeing with you, where I'm coming from is very different from someone who is just out to manipulate or to gain control over another person in an unhealthy relationship.
Okay, Jucelyn, I'm going to go on a tangent and ask you something else that I really liked about this book, which is on page 67. You shared, I think 67, let me get to that page. you shared about this, the man and the baby who were not meant to be. It's a story about a lady who fell in love with a married man who was always promising her that he would leave his wife, but never left. Eventually she got pregnant, had to have an abortion, and then he made up by giving her more things like a branded bag and all that. But I mean, frankly speaking, from my perspective, no bag, no house, no car can make up for the loss of a human life lah. But okay, that story was really touching to me. Can you tell us more about that?
Right. So yeah, that story is found in the book as well. And I think we all do make decisions that might not be wise at certain points, or we choose to ignore red flags. And well, if you are 20 plus and you have someone who promised to be with you and who is able to give you the material comforts of life that you so yearn for, sometimes it's easy to just make that miscalculated step. So yeah, like I agree with you, Denise, no bags, no amount of sweet promises can ever make up for the torment and the consequences of what you have to live with. So yeah, it's been many years. I don't think she's still not married to that gentleman. Actually, I'm not quite sure you want to put the gentle in front of men still. Yeah. So but I believe that in life, we do have choices. No matter how difficult, we still do have choices to right certain wrongs. But very often, why we don't do it is because of the fear. We're afraid of what our decision is going to lead to. But the decision you make today is going to affect your tomorrow.
And I know you are such a brave lady because you made the decision to leave a very toxic marriage. And I also know that it was very painful for you. So what kept you going? I mean, every single day must have been excruciating. So what kept you going and getting to where you are today? Tell us more.
Okay. Right. For me, for those of us who are moms, you will know that whatever decisions we make is very much pivoted or centered on the well-being of our children. For me, I put up with certain things that happened, which was very, very difficult for me, which actually got me into a certain period whereby I was battling with depression. Because of the children. I always feel that I want to give my children a complete family. That it's better for one to suffer than for three to suffer. That was my own mindset. And therefore, that prevented me from actually thinking rationally. Until, you could read my book of what happened, until maybe, one of my children actually noticed it and actually made certain remarks that really made me reflect and think about why I'm still in a relationship. And I realized that actually, okay, this is difficult, but, a lot of moms, we stay in relationships that are not healthy. For me, I didn't even argue, partly because I don't want a home environment which is filled with a lot of quarrels, and I feel emotionally affect the children. But even if you don't do that, children are very, very sensitive. They pick up vibes. They can sense that something is wrong. And, when they're in environments like that, it actually puts them in a very difficult situation because they feel like they're walking on eggshells. They just know something is not right. So what made me stay and what made me leave, ironically, were my children. Because I realized that it's not doing them any good.
That's so awesome, because there are so many ladies out there who are staying in not so good marriages for the sake of their children. But after they heard you say that, I'm sure they got some sparks to want to leave. That they can make a choice, and it's actually better for their kids in the long run. So okay, I really loved our conversation today. Is there anything that you want to say in closing to all the viewers?
Right. I think in closing, I just want to say that women, we really need to learn to love ourselves. I'm not asking you to be selfish. A lot of people, confuse self-love as selfishness. Then they feel guilty about that. Self-love is taking care of yourself. When you truly start to love yourself, to rediscover yourself, to respect yourself, only then can you show the world how you should be treated. And it's only when you have a deeper self-awareness of who you really are that allows you to tap into your talents. And many of us have hidden talent. I didn't even know that I could actually, get a new flag on my own, refurbish it on my own, and actually do it. I've been told that you will never be able to stand up. You are not capable of that. But today I'm proud to say that I have stood tall. I've overcome all. Right? Marriage is a marathon, not a sprint. For those of you who are encountering issues, I'm not to say that just walk out, okay? Work on it, and if you can, go for counseling and all to get it right. But I've always said that it takes two to clap. I've done the one trying to salvage it, and it's very difficult, and sometimes it doesn't work when it's just one trying to make it work. So love yourself.
That's awesome wisdom, and it comes from somebody who has gone through it herself, suffered for so many years, and had the courage to move out. So it is real wisdom that should be respected. I do respect her. And now that I'm in her house for this interview, I really like it because there's so much character and so much warmth and so much of Jucelyn on the walls. So she has the freedom to be herself in this house, and I'm nestled in this beautiful house right now, and it feels awesome. Okay, so that's the end of today's video. I will leave her website at the description below. That's where you can buy some of these books and give it to all your friends. Okay, thank you and God bless. Bye bye.